My wife and I found ourselves reborn on the day of our wedding. In front of a sea of onlookers, she boldly dashed into the arms of another man and disappeared with him, leaving me stranded and helpless on the stage. Years later, she re-emerged as the lead dancer of a world-famous ballet company, strutting proudly alongside him while openly mocking me. "Marcus, do you see? My achievements now are things you'll never reach." I said nothing in reply. Instead, I turned and wrapped my arm around the granddaughter of the world's richest magnate, a renowned dance instructor, and walked away. She was left behind, screaming in despair. "You scoundrel, let him go, Marcus! He's my husband!" On the day I became engaged to Norah, the wife from my past life, Selena, unexpectedly reappeared. Accompanied by the same man she had once eloped with, she arrived while Norah was still upstairs preparing. I went downstairs to greet the old classmates who had come. "Hey, who's this? Isn't he our campus heartthrob, Marcus Lee?" Before I could reach them, I heard a mocking sneer. "What a pitiful fly. Selena's a country girl, so you rushed over without a second thought." At those words, the smile on my face vanished. "Selena, when did you return?" I asked, glancing toward the voice. Selena, who had once favored light makeup and simple clothes, now looked completely transformed. Her features were exquisite, her dress a haute couture masterpiece, and her expression radiated an air of superiority, as though she were a queen surveying her subjects. "Lee, our beloved campus idol, long time no see," she said with a smile, linking her arm with the man beside her. "How have you been all these years?" "I doubt very well at all." "Otherwise, you wouldn't have come running as soon as you heard I was back," she added. "It's a pity. I'm now perfectly happy with Derek. You never stood a chance." At her words, Derek smugly pulled Selena closer into his embrace. "You owe a debt of gratitude to our campus heartthrob. If it weren't for you pushing me to marry Selena all those years ago, I wouldn't have discovered how much I truly love her." "I certainly owe you a great deal." Once, I had harbored mixed feelings about Selena after she coldly deserted our wedding, but now I felt nothing. I simply nodded and smiled to greet them, not wanting to involve myself any further. Today was my engagement day with Norah, and I couldn't waste a moment on them. To my surprise, my quiet tolerance only emboldened them further. "Why are you acting all high and mighty?" Derek's expression darkened at my indifferent attitude. One of his lackeys stepped forward and grabbed my arm. "Marcus, can't you hear us talking?" I found myself unable to move as they seized my sleeve, and I struggled to suppress my anger while glaring at them. "Today is a day of celebration. I have no desire to create a scene," I declared in a firm tone. "If you're here simply to attend, you are welcome. But if you're here to cause trouble, please leave immediately." My stern voice startled them. When they realized what had happened, their faces flushed with rage. "What are you doing sneaking in here and acting like the host?" One spat. "What status does the Chung family even have, and who are you to think you belong at an event like this?" I glanced at the time and noticed the engagement ceremony was about to begin. I had no time for further argument. Lowering my voice, I said, "Release me." Whoa, are you angry now?" Selena, still clinging to Derek, stepped forward with a mocking smile. "Marcus, I'm not trying to be cruel, but when I left you for Derek, it was precisely because I couldn't stand your weak, cowardly nature." "I know you claim to have deep feelings for me, but you're simply not good enough," she continued, repeatedly jabbing my chest with her bright red nails. Each time she wiped her hand away as if it were tainted with filth. All I felt was bewilderment. "Selena, you were the one who abandoned our wedding to follow another man, and now you flaunt it as though it's an achievement. Have you no shame?" Her smile froze, and Derek moved protectively in front of her. Before he could speak, I turned to him. "And you, a man who eagerly plays the third wheel, don't you feel any embarrassment? Here you are, parading around so shamelessly." Both Selena and Derek turned pale at my words. I didn't wish to escalate things further, but they persisted. even delaying my engagement ceremony with Norah. With no other recourse, I decided to end the matter quickly. Let go of me now, and I'll pretend nothing ever happened. But before I could utter another word, a glass of deep red wine was hurled over my head. Marcus, you're the shameless one. Derek and I are true love. Do not you dare slander us. In a fit of fury, Selina grabbed a glass of red wine from a nearby table and poured it over me. In an instant, the red liquid blurred my vision. I'm not letting you go today. When Mr. Cheng appears, I'll let him deal with you, you pretentious hypocrite. Through the sticky haze, I gazed upon Selina's distorted face, overcome by despair. In our previous life, we had been married for 20 years, and now she treated me so cruelly. I was allergic to red wine, a fact she had always known. Norah had ensured that no red wine would be served, yet fate had conspired otherwise. Long ago, Selina and I had fallen in love during college and, in our past life, married immediately after graduation. After our wedding, she was never satisfied with my lack of ambition, and once our daughter was born, she even contemplated divorce. Her grievance was simple. Her childhood sweetheart had risen to become a business tycoon while I remained a minor employee. Marcus, choosing you over Derek was the gravest mistake of my life. In those years, Selina and I fought nearly every day. She constantly thought of Derek. When she looked at our daughter, her expression twisted into disgust. You're just like your father. You both will end up miserable one day. Her venomous words terrified our young daughter into tears. My in-laws could stand it no longer and tried to intervene, but amid the chaos, Selina shoved her own parents down the stairs. One died and the other was injured. To escape responsibility, she booked a last-minute flight and attempted to flee into Derek's arms. But fate intervened. A car accident on her way to the airport halted her escape. Then, we were all reborn, and we found ourselves once again at the wedding ceremony. I was now an orphan without family, and the only thought on my mind after rebirth was our young daughter. What would become of her? Before I could fully process the situation, Selina, reborn alongside me, seized the microphone and launched into a fiery speech. Like a delicate butterfly, she then fluttered into Derek's arms, leaving me alone to face the accusing, mocking stares of everyone present. A heavy weight pressed down on my chest, and soon I felt as though I could barely breathe. Hey, what's going on here? Pretending to be sick now? Someone jeered. Do you really think feigning illness will let you stay? I'll expose your filthy side for all to see, another threatened. Then Derek released Selina's hand and stormed into the hall, shouting, Everyone, come and see! A pathetic lapdog is trying to crash the Chung family's banquet. Who knows what he's up to? Ha! Our dashing Marcus isn't half bad looking. Of course he's here to snatch a rich girl from high society. Why labor for 20 more years when you can just show up? Their mocking laughter drew a crowd of onlookers. I tried to endure the struggle for breath, desperate to escape. Today was my engagement day with Norah, a day Norah had waited 8 long years for, and I couldn't allow these riffraff to ruin it. Where do you think you're going? Someone demanded. Isn't he the campus heartthrob? Let everyone see if any rich young lady finds him appealing. He's gone to great lengths just to be here. I was jostled, nearly falling to the ground. Who is this? What's happening? Yeah, how can someone like you be at a banquet of this stature? Murmured others. He seems a bit familiar. People began asking questions, straining to get a better look at my face. I hurriedly tried to hide. I wanted Norah's engagement celebration to be memorable for her, not a public spectacle of disgrace. I didn't want anyone to think that the Chung family's daughter was marrying a man of no worth. But my mind grew hazy with regret. I cursed the day I decided to greet them. These lowlifes did not deserve my attention. What are you hiding for? What's wrong? Are you so grateful to us for this fine wine, you poor thing? One jeered. You owe us nothing, another sneered. After all, without us, you'd never have experienced such high-class fare in your life. Derek stepped forward again, nonchalantly kicking me as he said, "Now that you've had the wine and utterly embarrassed yourself, you'd better leave before the ceremony starts and ruins the Chung family's mood." Selina then stood gracefully before me, looking down as if I were nothing more than an insect. "Fortunately," she began. What did she mean by fortunately? Was it because she'd fled the wedding? Or was she celebrating another chance at life? I wanted to retort, but my strength was fading. "Where is Mr. Lee? I can't find him. The ceremony is about to begin." Just when I thought I'd reached my limit, I heard an anxious servant call out, "Sir, have you seen Marcus?" Nora's worried voice followed. "Why are there so many people here? What's going on?" The sound of clicking high heels grew nearer, and through the crowd, I finally saw a panicked face. "Marcus, what happened to you?" Norah rushed forward and collapsed into my arms, her beautiful eyes filled with panic and concern. "Honey, what's happened? Please don't frighten me," she pleaded. Her frantic words made both Derek and Selina go pale. Selina stiffened and stepped forward. "Young Mr. Chung, surely you must be mistaken. How could she be your spouse? This, clearly." Before she could continue, Nora's sharp gaze locked onto her. "I know you, Selina, don't I?" Nora's words lit up Selina's face with false joy, but before she could get carried away, Nora's icy voice cut in again. "I recall that the Chung family never sent you an invitation. How did you even get in?" Selina began, but Norah interrupted. "We'll discuss your situation later, but let me be clear. If any harm comes to my husband today, none of you will escape, especially you, Derek, and Selina." At this, those who had been gossiping rushed forward to intervene, only to be swiftly restrained by bodyguards. "Miss, the doctor has arrived." I was carried to a nearby lounge by the servants. "Doctor, how is my husband?" Nora's protective mask dropped, her eyes reddened, and she trembled. "Miss Chung, don't worry. Mr. Lee merely suffered an allergic reaction. His condition is now under control." Had you arrived any later, or had Miss Chung not intervened in time, things could have been far worse. As the doctor administered treatment, I slowly regained consciousness. Then Norah, her nose red and voice shaking, collapsed into my arms. "Oh, honey, what happened? You nearly gave me a heart attack." She clung to me, and my heart softened completely. "Don't worry, I'm fine." I propped myself up and embraced Norah. "Darling, what happened? You were only meant to greet our guests. How did this turn into chaos?" I let out a bitter laugh as I recounted the events. They simply went too far. I'll make them pay for this. Furious, Norah clenched her fists and almost stormed off, but I held her back. "Norah, don't be angry. We can't confront them directly. What if someone accuses us of using our power to bully them?" Norah's face flushed. "They were the ones bullying you. They ruined our engagement celebration. I won't let them get away with it." As I comforted her, a dark glint flashed in my eyes. The most important thing now is to discover where that bottle of red wine came from. Wasn't red wine forbidden at this banquet? I wrapped an arm around Norah and returned to the scene. When I emerged, Derek and Selina both sighed with relief. "See? I told you there's nothing to worry about. Everything's fine now," Derek said, his face easing as he took Selina's hand. Then he lifted his chin. "Marcus, since you're all right, why not let these people be?" I sat down beside Norah and replied calmly, "Let them be. No need to rush. But the crucial issue is to find out where that bottle of red wine came from. The entire banquet forbade it. How did it appear? Besides, the only person who knew of my red wine allergy was Selina. I don't think this was an accident. It seems like an attempted murder." I smiled faintly as I scanned every face in the room. At my words, Selina's face turned red with anger, and she began to curse. "Marcus, are you out of your mind? Do you think you're some kind of leader, claiming this was an attempted murder?" With your insignificant life, you wouldn't deserve it. Stop flattering yourself. What nonsense are you spouting? Norah couldn't hold back any longer and stood up, shouting, "Who gave you the right to speak of my husband like that, Selina? Don't you know any basic manners?" Selina immediately fell silent, her earlier arrogance vanishing. "Miss Chung, this bottle of red wine was here when we arrived. We have no idea what happened," one of the servants offered, as they trembled and pleaded. "Miss, it really wasn't our fault." "Yes, miss. Though we didn't understand why red wine was banned, we followed the instructions to the letter." As the standoff continued, I calmly surveyed everyone. "The mansion is equipped with security cameras, so... To be fair, let's review the surveillance footage. The truth will come out." At these words, the old classmates' expressions shrank in horror. "No. There's no need. It's not a big deal." Selina and Derek both broke into a cold sweat. "Not a big deal? My husband almost died because of this, and you call it trivial?" I insisted. "I'm simply saying that even if the Chung family allowed red wine, we wouldn't have such low-quality stuff here. Now that the truth is evident, the blame lies squarely with you. Checking the footage is merely to clarify the matter." Nervously, the group followed me to the surveillance room. Throughout, Selina tried to speak several times, only to be silenced by Derek. "Brother Derek, can we really serve red wine at an event like this?" The screen then showed footage of Derek and Selina whispering near the manor's entrance. Their conversation unfolded. "What's the matter? We're not serving red wine to impress these upper-class folks. We'll simply place it in front of those country bumpkins who've never seen the world. They'll be easily fooled." "Then, isn't it a waste to let these riffraff drink such fine wine?" The 4K ultra-high-definition footage captured Selina's unmistakable look of distress. "Are you foolish? I've already switched out the genuine wine. This is just cheap stuff I got wholesale for $3. Think about it. $3, and everyone will be praising us. Isn't that a far better deal?" Derek pressed on. Noticing Selina's lingering hesitation, he ground his teeth and added, "Besides, all our old classmates are here. I wasn't sure if Marcus would even show up." "If he does, don't you want him to see that you're doing better than him?" At that, the once hesitant Selina immediately grew resolute. The events unfolding on the screen mirrored what had just occurred in the hall. As Norah watched, her expression darkened. The room fell silent under a heavy tension. Only Derek, trembling, reached out to grab my sleeve. "Marcus, please have mercy on us. Just let us off this time." "And it wasn't truly dangerous, was it?" he stammered. I turned my gaze to Selina, whose eyes, now filled with guilt, avoided mine. I let out a subtle, mocking laugh. "Is that so?" The doctor said that my reaction wasn't worse because the wine was so diluted it didn't trigger the severe allergy that genuine red wine would. At that moment, everyone recalled Derek's earlier boast. "Weren't you saying this was imported fine wine, the kind that money can't buy, specially brought for us? You're just pretending to be rich, trying to impress us with $3 worth of trash." Those who had previously conspired with Derek against me suddenly turned on him, glaring at both him and Selina. When a real man brings wine to a private dinner, it shows loyalty and understanding. But what are you doing serving this kind of garbage at a banquet? Aren't you ashamed? One by one, the conspirators spoke, and Derek's face turned beet red. I... He stuttered, at a loss for words. His eyes then flickered to Norah and me holding hands, and his face lit up with glee. "Marcus, my friend, you should be thanking me. If I hadn't taken Selina away all those years, how would you have ended up with her?" he continued. "It's all because of me that you have this perfect match." His shameless words left both Norah and me speechless, and even Selina's eyes reddened. "Derek, what on earth are you saying?" Selina cried out furiously, hurling her handbag at him, but he shoved her aside. "I worked hard to get you that bag and that dress.
Do you think I did it all for you to ruin everything?
Do you know that if they get damaged, we can't return them? That would cost triple compensation, you idiot. Derek scrambled to catch the handbag, blowing on it as though that could magically repair it. Their repeated antics shocked everyone. Perhaps it was our piercing stares that finally wounded Selena's pride. She collapsed to the floor, her face contorted with fury as she glared at me.
"Marcus, what is there to be proud of?" she screamed.
At least I earned my place through hard work. And you? You climbed solely by leaning on a woman. You're nothing but a kept man. As soon as those words were spoken, the atmosphere in the surveillance room froze. Even Norah stared at me, her eyes filled with anxiety. Marcus, please, don't listen to them. They pleaded, all holding their breath, afraid I might lose my temper. But I only smiled indifferently. I had planned to announce this at tonight's banquet, but I might as well say it now. Gently, I patted Norah's back in reassurance. To be worthy of Norah and to match her status, I've worked my tail off these years. I won't deny that I benefited from the Chung family's influence, but the success I enjoy now was built step by step through my own efforts. With that, I revealed that I was now the CEO of the rapidly rising Verdi Group. Yes, I had used Norah's name to found the company that now stood under my ownership. I looked tenderly at Norah, who was utterly astonished. And tonight I will announce that I'm transferring all my shares to Norah. She will be the true shareholder of the company. From now on, I will only be working for Norah. The room fell silent in shock, and Norah appeared completely bewildered. Ha! I always knew Marcus wasn't the kind of man to rely on others. Once the shock subsided, those who had once mocked me suddenly shifted their tone, flattering me and eager to get on my good side. But deep down, I knew the truth. My achievements were not solely mine. Without Norah's help and the protection of the Chung family, I would never have come this far. And now, everything was in its rightful place. After the engagement ceremony ended and my true identity was revealed, many who had once looked down on me after Selena's runaway wedding, and those who had tried to exploit my situation, suddenly flocked to my side. I didn't mind, though. After all, Norah and I had finally reached a point where we could cherish our time together. I recalled how, when Selena had fled our wedding and I was reborn, I had sunk into deep despair. It was Norah, her cheeks flushed with concern, who found me and said, "Marcus, if you don't mind, I can help you complete this wedding ceremony." She confessed her feelings for me, expressing just how deeply she cared. In that moment, I was overwhelmed, my mind a blur, but I firmly rejected her proposal. I couldn't marry someone I didn't truly love, and even if I did, I wouldn't want her to be burdened by all this chaos. I needed to sort myself out, to rise to a level where I could stand proudly beside her and then propose properly in public. After that day, I devoted myself to building my career. I knew Norah was secretly helping me without letting me realize it, and I could only offer a bitter smile. In this land, where every inch of territory is precious, without the Chung family's support, I would have never reached this far. And now, everything was perfect. "Darling, you're back." After the engagement, Norah and I began living openly together. One day, Norah returned reeking of alcohol. "You've been drinking," I observed, quickly catching her as she staggered, clearly intoxicated. "Marcus, you rogue," she slurred. Her disjointed complaints made me laugh helplessly. "What's wrong, Norah? Have I done something to upset you? Tell me. Do you still have feelings for your ex?" Norah's eyes filled with growing insecurity and worry. I couldn't help but chuckle softly. How could that be? I've had nothing to do with her for so long. Over the years, nearly every time Norah became drunk, she would ask me with a pitiful tone if I still cared for Selena. I knew the deep-seated insecurity within her, and I repeatedly reassured her. even though I felt some guilt for having caused her such doubt. But there would be many days ahead, and I would show Norah time and again with my actions just how deeply I loved her. I am Norah's fiancé, and now I should officially be called her husband, for today we married. Our meeting had begun back in college. I was 2 years older than she was, a senior, and when I realized I adored that sunny, cheerful senior, I discovered she was already with someone. I could see that she loved him deeply, so I silently wished them well. Yet, because of my upbringing in the Chung family and my own pride, I couldn't bring myself to steal someone else's boyfriend. I watched from the shadows, secretly celebrating their happiness even as sorrow filled my heart. When news finally came that they were to wed, I wept quietly in my bed, thinking, let it be. After attending their wedding, I vowed to let him go. But what I never expected was that Selena would run away from the wedding. When I heard the news, I was ecstatic, and then all the excitement turned to heartache when I saw him standing alone on the stage. So I did the only rebellious thing I had ever done. I found him, trembling with a mix of excitement and nervousness, and told him what was in my heart. It's all right that your bride fled. I'll be your bride. I can complete the ceremony with you. At that moment, a wedding dress, delivered in secret, waited by the door. As soon as he agreed, I could slip into it and marry him. But I was rejected. I should have been heartbroken, yet I felt an odd relief. He said he didn't want to make me feel wronged. Not long after, we confirmed our relationship. Step by step, we walked a long, arduous road, enduring criticism from everyone, until finally we reached our engagement day. Just days before the engagement, I learned that Selena had returned to the country. I did everything I could to keep Marcus from knowing, but to my surprise, she appeared at the engagement party and directly clashed with him. When I saw him lying on the ground in a sorry state, my heart nearly stopped beating. In that moment, I no longer cared who he once loved. My only wish was for him to be safe. Fortunately, it turned out to be a false alarm. The engagement ceremony proceeded as planned, and I got what I wanted, though my heart still wasn't at ease. Then one day, Selena found me and explained the bond between her and Marcus, claiming that they shared a connection spanning past and present lives, even having a daughter together. She said Marcus still loves her. Hearing those words, my heart broke. But so what? Marcus was mine now. He loved me. I calmly poured scalding coffee onto Selena's face, just as she had once done to Marcus. As I left, I heard her scream from deep within, "Norah, you bitch! Marcus is my husband!" I could only laugh inwardly. "Your husband? Are you sure about that?"